Okay, so here's some of the type of problems you'll see that deal with circles. I have 4 examples for you. The first one says find the center and the radius of the circle with equation x squared plus y squared equals 25 and graph it. So if you remember from the first video, the equation of a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So in this particular case, all we see is an x squared and a y squared, and that's because h is 0 and y is 0. So basically you're looking at x minus 0 squared plus y minus 0 squared equals 5 squared. That's where we get this 25 right here. So, x minus 0 is just x, and y minus 0 is just y. So that's what we have going on here. So what's happening is this is a circle whose center is at the origin and whose radius is 5. And you can see that there. So it asks us to graph it, and that's really easy to do. The center is at the origin, and then we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a point on the circle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a point on the circle. 4, 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we just kind of, as best we can, could use a compass. It would make it a little nicer, but let me just get this circle. That's not a great circle, but that'll be good enough for our purposes. And that's it. So that's center and the radius of a circle that has that equation. Center is the answer. The answer would be written like this: center 0, 0, radius 5. Okay, so that's example number 1. Move that up. Example number 2, write an equation for a circle with a center of -4, -3 that's tangent to the x-axis. So this is probably a new word for many people, tangent. And tangent is just simply means a line that kind of goes along and just touches at one point. And that's what we mean by tangent. It just skims it and just touches it, and that's tangent. Okay, so we want to write the equation for a circle with center -4, -3. That's easy. So we know the equation is x minus, this is the center, so that's my h, -4 squared, plus y minus k, in this case -3 squared, equals r squared. And we just have to figure out what that radius is. And of course, these two together could be called x plus 4 squared, y plus 3 squared equals r squared. So notice that in the equation of a circle, the general form of the equation of a circle, let me go back to that, it always has minus here and minus here. In this case, we see plus and plus, which means the center must be at negative numbers, and that's what they gave us: -4, -3. So when the center has center points have negative, the x and the y coordinates of the center point are negative, we end up with a plus in our formula. All right, that should be somewhat obvious. Okay, so let me just give you a sketch of what's happening here, a little quick sketch, and you should do this on your tests and your quizzes. Just a quick sketch, doesn't have to be anything fancy. So we have -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and -3, 1, 2, 3. That's the center. That's what they told us. And they're telling us that it's tangent to the x-axis, which means the circle just touches, this is my x-axis, just touches the x-axis like this. Right? Something like that. You don't need the whole circle. All we need to know is that it's tangent to it, which means this is my radius right here. The length of that line. And that line is 1, 2, 3. It's actually the y coordinate. When we say that it's tangent to the x-axis, we're looking at the y coordinate to get the radius right here. Had it been tangent to the y, I would have counted over 1, 2, 3, 4, which is the x coordinate. So that's a little shortcut there. So I know that the radius is 3. So in place of this r right here, I can just put in a 3. So that's the equation of the circle. You could say 9 here. You wouldn't say 9 squared. You could say 3 squared, or you could just say 9, and we would know that it was 3 squared. So that's the equation of a circle that has a center at -4, -3, and that is tangent to the x-axis, and has a radius of 3. Okay, 2 more examples. Write an equation for a circle if the endpoints of a diameter are at -415 and 12,3. So let's just get a little idea of what that was. A little sketch here. Sketch always helps you to picture what's going on. So just, we're not going to plot these exactly, but let's go over what would be 12 up 3. Call it 12, 3. And this would be -4, 15. We'll put it right here, -4, 15. Again, this is just a rough sketch. And they're saying that those are endpoints of a diameter. A diameter goes cuts through a circle, right through the center of a circle. So somewhere around here is the center of a circle. And then again, the circle is doing something like this. Right? It doesn't have to be a perfect circle, a pretty picture here, but that gives us an idea of what's going on. You don't have to sketch this every time, but so we know the diameter. So in order to write the equation of a circle, you need to know what the center is, and you need to know what the radius is. Okay? Well, the center is exactly between these 2 points, and we learn about this in geometry. It's called the midpoint formula, and it looks like this. Add your x's together and divide by 2. Add your y's together and divide by 2. And that's an ordered pair, right? And so you're just taking the average of the x's. So we add -4 and 12, which is 8, and you divide by 2, which is 4. You add your y's together, which is 15 and 3, so that's 18, divided by 2 is 9. So the 0.49, so if I were to go over 4, up 9, I'd be exactly in the center, 4, 9. So I now know if I want to write the equation of a circle, it's x minus 4 squared plus y minus 9 squared equals r squared. So I'm almost there. I've got the equation of a circle. I just need the radius, and the radius is half the length of the diameter. Now there's a couple of ways you can figure out what the radius is. You could use the distance formula and find the distance from here to here and cut it in half. Or you could just take the distance from the center to this edge or the center to this edge. It really doesn't matter because the radius here is the same as the radius here, or the distance is the same. Okay? So I'm going to use the distance formula, and I'm going to find the distance from here to here. And the distance formula is 12 minus 4 squared plus 3 minus 9 squared, and I'm taking the square root of that. That's the distance formula, right? Difference in the x's, difference in the y's. That's 8 squared. That's -6 squared. That's 64 plus 36, which is 100. And when you take the square root of 100, you get 10, which means the radius here is 10. So we replace this r with a 10, and that's the equation of the circle. So that's the equation of a circle that has the center at 4, 9, and the radius is 10. Okay. One more example. Find the center and radius of a circle with this equation. Now this equation doesn't look like the equation of a circle. We have to kind of convert it and get it into the equation of a circle. So you're going to have to do something called completing the square. And that's something you learned in Algebra 2 or should have learned in Algebra 2. So I'm going to walk you through it step by step. So the first thing you should do is separate your x's. So you have x squared here, and you have minus 4x. And then you have, you separate your y's. You have y squared here, plus 8y equals. And then I'm going to move the 5 to the other side. So I'm just rewriting it. I'm just kind of separating terms. I've got my x term here and my x term, my y term and my y term, and then I move the 5 to the other side. Okay, now this is a process called completing the square. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create that x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equals r squared. So I'm trying to create this. They call it completing the square. I like to call it creating the square because I'm trying to create this perfect square here. Okay, and so here's the trick. You take half of the x term, which would be 2, and then you square it, which would be 4. So take half and square it. Same thing here. Take half of this, which is 4, and square it, which is 16. Now, what I've essentially done, I've changed the equation now because now I have a 4 and a 16 on the left that I don't have on the right. So if these are to remain equal, I'd have to have a 4 and a 16 on this side. So I've changed the function, but I've done it in a way that keeps everything equal. And what I've done now is I've created on this side, when you factor this, you get exactly x minus 2x minus 2. And if you multiply that out, you'd get this. If you factor this, you get x plus 4, x plus 4. And on this side, of course, we have 9 and 16 is 25. Okay? And so what I've created now is this is x minus 2 squared. This is x plus 4 squared, and this is 5 squared. And so now I have this equation of a circle, and I can answer the question. The center says find the center and the radius of this circle. Well, the center is my hk, which in this case is is 2, right? That's my h. And this is a negative 4. This is my center, right? Because the formula has x minus h, y minus k. So this is my h. This must have been a negative 4, which made this become a plus. And then, of course, my radius is 5. And now I found the center and the radius of a circle with this equation. This equation is in a different form, so I had to get it into the form that we're used to seeing. And that's it.